Happy Friday, everyone. This is Julie HR, and I am super excited to tell you guys about my template I just created called the First Time Manager Workbook. Now, it is a workbook, and I've had a lot of people, inquire, Julie, can you please create a workbook for our first time managers? And so I took the time to really work hard and create something that, it's hard to be a first time manager, but I put a lot of effort into it to provide activities that employees could actually apply to what they read. If a manager or an HR director is going to lead these lessons, I think it would be great to do maybe once a week. So with that being said, let's go get started, okay? So here we go. Well, I'm going to go back actually. Okay, the topics are new manager role, understanding delegation, effective communication, discipline and termination, hiring and interviewing, effective performance, productive meetings, limiting liability, productivity, engagement and retention, and building relationships with your team. So with that being said, here we're going to flip. Create an introduction, which pretty much congratulates the first time manager and, goes into, what a big deal it is and what a learning journey it's going to be to actually, make that transition from, individual contributor to manager, remanage a team. So this is a new manager role. However, other experienced managers or new supervisors could most definitely benefit from this book. Okay, number one, lesson one is a new manager role. It talks about your role, how number one, you're the organization's representative. You're an educator of corporate policies. You're a manager of employee relations. You're an expectations manager. You're a compliance guardian, and you are the eyes and the ears of the employer. You are in a big role, and so this book is going to be a wonderful foundation for you. Okay, with that being said, I put in, you can put in questions, you can put in activities, but if they aren't critical thinking type of activities that represent real world situations, then it's really not worth it. So all my questions and all my activities are very critical thinking. And let it be said that it would be great to do this within a class because, you can bounce the ideas off of each other. And if you're critically thinking, there might be one manager that thinks one way and another manager thinks another way. And it's brought to the other manager's attention so they can actually acknowledge a new way of thinking. Understanding delegation. Oh my goodness, this is one of the top ones. Number one, you've got to delegate. You cannot do it all yourself. So there are a number of key strategies that I've put in there. Just basically from, previous classes that I've taught and research that I've done. I'm just going to go through these fairly quick. Set clear objectives. Adequate resources, match tasks with skills and development goals, trust through empowerment, open communication, monitor without micromanaging, recognize and reward, learn from experience. You're going to learn a lot from each and every one of your employees as a new manager, and there are a lot of different key strategies you need to key in on. Okay, so this particular activity involves is a challenge. There's a scenario. Create a scenario involving a project or task that needs to be delegated. So you got to think of that. This should include details such as the task objectives, the team's composition, and time frame for completion. You're really going to have to think. I would think about maybe something you've seen another manager do, and put that to work within this delegation activity. It goes down. It really makes an employee, new manager think. One thing. Yes, it would be one thing if you did have some managerial experience. Perhaps you are a manager, but for a new manager, you're really going to benefit from this. And you're really going to go back and you're going to use this book, I know you are, to make yourself the best new manager within your company. Effective communications. Okay, that is something that I would honestly say that you can never have enough communication training. Here I am, I wrote this book, this booklet, this workbook. However, I would encourage you to, work with a mentor, watch, YouTube videos, go to seminars, have that effective communication. Communication is huge. There are so many ways to not be effective, but there are ways to be effective. And those are the ones you need to key in on. Communication runs the gamut. It's not just giving tasks. It's actually, talking to employees, it's your demeanor. It's the way you form your words and your sentences. And communication is just not all talking. Guess what it is? I know you're all saying it right now. You've got to listen. Active listening. You've also got to, key in on, the discretion and the confidentiality of effective communications. And I would encourage you, and I'm going to encourage you a lot as I go through this, to rely on your HR, director or manager to guide you. If you have any questions, you do not want to divulge some type of sensitive information or some type of legal information or some type of complaint, because it could actually come back and bite you. So communication, as we go over to the can you tell I'm really excited about this? Communication and discretion challenge. Okay, fun stuff here, guys. Okay, apply effective communication strategies, discretion, and navigate confidentialities in a series of workplace scenarios. Okay, so you're going to have to divide into small groups. So I'm really hoping this is a classroom type event. Number one, divide into groups. You're going to be provided, each group's going to be provided with a set of scenario cards. You're going to draw the cards and you're going to role play. Why are you going to role play? Because that is what you would do in your real life job. It does not make sense to have an activity if you're not able to apply it to something that would be actually something you would be doing in your real position. Group reflection, share and learn. So let's take a look at this. I was pretty excited about these. Here are your scenario cards, and they would be handed out. Hold on, let me go back really quick. Reflection right here. You might want to put a big circle around it. You will want to go back to this. I should have probably put it at the end, but there was not a lot of room. So be sure to go back and do the reflection after you do some of the scenario cards. Okay, so these are confidential, sensitive, legal, interdepartment. These are pretty heavy duty. Let's see, let me pick one. Sensitive employee feedback. Now, as a new manager, you're going to be learning a lot. And let me just tell you, also, you really need to take care of yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself. There's a lot. You'll have to work hard, and you'll have to keep that. And I guess this is more something that I could put in another booklet. You're really going to have to structure your time into time blocks and plan your day. You plan your day. Don't let your day plan you. You need to be able to do it and let people know, hey, from this time to this time, I'm doing this, and this time to this time, I'm doing this. Okay, back to the scenario cards. An employee comes to you with concerns about workplace harassment, requesting confidentiality. Practice how you would handle the conversation, ensuring the employee feels heard and supported while considering the necessary steps to address the issue. Number one, you need to have some documentation. Document. An employee comes to you with concerns about workplace harassment. Number one, what was it? What was that thing that started with an A? Active listening. You need to, requesting confidentiality. Okay, so that's a kicker right there. There are some things that if you hear that could be, there are some things that you need to bring to the forefront of, HR, especially if it's like breaking a law or something like that. But this is workplace harassment. And number one, you don't want, like if this employee comes to you and says there's workplace harassment, you cannot just automatically go to the other employee and say, hey, I've heard you're harassed. This, all in all, as a new manager or even as a manager, you are going to want to take this to HR. You need to take this to HR and go through, what you can do after you hear this. Don't make a lot of people, they just want to give, their ideas and say what they think that's on their mind. You've got to be calculated in what you say. An employee comes to you. Okay. Number one, you need to confirm that you hear what they're saying. Yes, I hear that you're requesting confidentiality. Ensuring, like I said, ensuring the employee feels heard and supported. And say, you have to acknowledge while considering the necessary steps to address the issue. You may, I would say it's a necessity that you actually say, hey, I'm going to write this down. I want to loop back with you tomorrow. This is a very important, I really hear what you're saying. I'm going to need, let me just digest this, write it down, document it. You and I, the new manager and I, we need to get back together tomorrow and we will discuss the way forward. And meanwhile, you can go talk to HR and just get some feedback. You cannot take this on yourself, especially as a new manager. You want to rely on HR, and in the future, you'll know how to deal with these things in a manner that is adequate. Okay, discipline and termination. Okay, that's going to be something that you deal with. You need to understand it. Obviously, you need to know the policies, the response, and the level. And so that's going to be another thing that you're going to have to learn. A lot of things, I would say you're going to learn it on the job. No, I would be proactive in understanding the discipline. And, as a new manager, I would hope that HR would actually have some type of training for you. Ensuring fairness and consistency across the board. And you have got to not show any kind of bias. You've got to be fair and consistent in how you apply your policies. And look right here. Boop. What's that word? Documentation. Implementing discipline and terminations. With your employees, I would go ahead and set the expectation forth that, this is how, if there's something that comes up. One of the things that I learned a long time ago, and it was it was a manager who I saw as a total leader. And one of the things I remember him saying, and it's something that has stuck with me, is, termination, it shouldn't be a surprise. You shouldn't just up one day, these employees, if there's an issue and you have to terminate them, you better have your documentation in a row, and it should never be a surprise, because you know what? You've been the manager that went through the steps of, okay, first write-up, second, third, and then bam. So you should never, no employee should ever be like, surprise, you are terminated. Can you tell I'm excited about this book? I really like it. I worked really hard on it. Discipline and termination. I'm going to give you a background. You're a new manager, obviously, you are. And one of your team members, Alex, has repeatedly been late to work over the past 2 months. Despite verbal warnings, so therefore you have verbal warnings, and a discussion about the importance of punctuality, Alex's behavior has not improved. This repeated tardiness is affecting the team's morale and productivity. Okay, so I say with a lot of things, I have a lot of things that I stick to. Stick to the facts. Always get the facts. And then from there, make sure you have your documentation. Make a decision. Using the table provided, document the disciplinary action taken against Alex. Ensure your documentation is clear, factual, and aligns with the organizational policies. Now, with this being said, in my mind as an HR director in the past, if this employee is missing, like a lot of work, could there be some kind of, with every issue, and this is the way I think about it, and I'm not a psychologist, if things happen, sometimes there is an underlying issue. It could be that there is a sickness in the family. It could be this person could be depressed. I mean, there is a number of things. And as a manager, you're going to grow in your emotional intelligence and be able to speak to the employee in a way that says, hey, listen, this has, been happening a lot. Is there anything I should know about? And then you let that employee tell you. But with that being said, let's just say this employee is just very careless and I just think I'm going to be late for work. I put right here, this would be a great little thing to follow. Documentation to follow. I've kind of outlined it right here. Consequences, acknowledgement. And then over here, same table. Here, you're going to go and you're going to fill this in. And of course, at the end, I'm going to still make you think. After completing the table, reflect on the process. How did you ensure fairness? What challenges? This and that. Use your imagination and, take it to the extent of what you think you may encounter. Hiring and interviewing. Now, this is going to be something you're going to be working with HR with. Number one, I say start with the job description. If you have an opening within your department as a new manager, you are going to want to start with the job description and make sure that it is up to date, because you want to find that individual, that perfect individual, well, as close as perfect, that will fit into the culture and has the core values and has the skills that you need for your department. Preparing for the interviews, okay, it's got to be standardized. In the past, I've seen where, I've been in other interviews where even though I prep the manager or whatever, or whatnot, things have got to be consistent. Hey, you got to, you need to ask the same question. I've seen managers kind of veer off and not ask the same questions. That could, I've never seen it. It could come back and bite you. Got to have it standardized, and it's got to be documented. Conduct the interview. HR will really help you. And I'll create another book. I love creating books on, avoiding inappropriate, questions. What can you ask? What can you not ask? Make your hiring decisions, document your decision, be prepared, defend your hiring. And you're going to want someone else to, sit in on your interviews at time. You really want them to sit in on your interviews. You want to have someone like HR sit in, to make sure that, you're handling it right. They will provide you, or if you need me to provide you with something, please reach out to me. Send me a message on Etsy or at my email, which is on my YouTube. You want to, go through it, documentation, and what needs to be in here, but you'll learn behavioral interviews. There is nothing better than asking a question to a manager, and not a manager, but an employee or and a candidate, that is an actual question of what they would be doing within the department, such as, you are dealing with a particular issue with another employee and you don't agree. How would you handle it? You want to give that employee, that candidate, you want to give them a real life scenario, a real challenge. With that being said, let's do another simulation exercise. Like I said, you're going to probably need to write a job description. You'll learn. I would like, one of the first things you probably will have is job descriptions. You're going to need to analyze it, update it, because number two, you're going to have to actually put up an ad, or an ad will need to be put up by HR, and it needs to be very, very detailed, because you want to find the ideal candidate. Collaborate with HR, develop interview questions, mock interview. Now, right here, conduct a mock interview with a hypothetical candidate. Use the questions you develop, record the candidate's responses in brief. So find someone else, another manager, hopefully that you're in this class with, and do a mock interview. And then you're going to need to back up your hiring decisions. So everything is very document, think, fairness. There are a lot of descriptive words. And here you're going to be hiring for a customer service manager. I put the job description right here. You're going to be looking at that, and you're going to be interviewing, and you're going to be seeing if this mock interview person has the skills, answers their behavioral questions, background, you got to check that. And with skills, they need leadership and people development, effective communication. You need to be asking questions to show that they're able to, key in and use effective communication. And you need to give, like I said, real world examples. Here's hiring and interviewing. Okay. Reflective, effective performance. Right here, I've just created some critical thinking questions. There's no scenario, but effective performance reviews, they're key. Another thing, like I said, with firing, it shouldn't be a surprise. An employee should never be surprised that their performance review is less than perfect, because you know what? You are going to be working with this employee and during the year, and they're going to know how they're doing. They are going to know if they're meeting their goals. It's not going to be, hey, we're doing a performance review and bam, wait, we're going to be doing a performance review a year from now, and the employee doesn't do so well. Well, I would say, if they're not doing so well, it might be the new not necessarily, but the new manager needs to take the time to understand where the employee is along the way. If they're struggling or whatever, like I said, use that, your communication skills, and meet with that employee. I know that there's a lot of time. Like I said, you need to block off your time and find out how you can help the employee during the year and document that. Productive meetings, I would encourage to have a meeting every single week. You want to keep you want to keep your employees, and as a new manager, you want to keep your employees in the know. Why? There are some employees that come to work and they don't know why. They know that maybe they are, putting together particular parts, for a particular machine. Okay, that's great. But, they want to know how they're fitting into the big picture, and how the department is fitting into the big picture. And you want to share with the employees, hey, this is what's happening, big picture organization. They want to know. Just don't keep it just within the reins of the department. Reach out, say, hey, great news. The machines that you created, they were a hit. Such and such retailer bought $1 million. You guys, it was because of you. That was great. But you need to be very specific on this. What do you know? I created an agenda for you. I gave you some directions on the agenda earlier. Creating a mock meeting agenda, and you're going to fill this in. Limiting liability. This is going to take a little while for you to there are a lot of laws. There are a lot of laws, and on my Etsy page, they're top 10 manager laws that you need to know. You need to know, particular situations and actual situations that have happened, within other companies. I would even, YouTube it, or I would encourage to get as much training as you can. Flipping right along. Critical thinking. Number one, how are you going to stay informed about the laws and regulations relevant to you as a manager? I would hope within your department, your HR director or, that individual person who's in charge of compliance would be providing you with this information. So productivity, engagement, and retention. I tell you what, retention. That's the word. You want to keep your employees engaged from day one. Onboarding, from day one, you've got to understand how you actually impact them. It's not bad for, after you hire an employee. So, how do you feel like everything went, like as far as coming on board? Just understand your impact, seek feedback, align goals, and always reinforce it. Strategies to prevent disengagement, monitor the issues early, career development. I tell you what, I think I said it in another, employees actually, they are more committed to an organization when the organization shows that they're committed to them. So career development. And right here, answer the below questions as a new manager. You're going to need to grab a notebook. I hope you probably figured that out if this is a class, and answer these. And there's always a reflection. Building relationships with your team. There's some critical thinking questions. Connections, open communications, appreciation, supportive leadership. And you will learn as a new manager, let me just tell you, you're going to be reporting above you and you're going to be reporting below you. This is a challenging time within your life, but it's also very exciting and very empowering. And you're going to need to lean on a lot of people. I think I know this book, it will help you, and I would come back and revisit the questions, and hopefully that you have been in a class that has provided you with other managers to bounce your ideas off of. So I'm super excited. Go to my Etsy page, purchase this. I don't know if it's an HR manager listening to me right now, or a manager, purchase it. I put it in a Word document, and I've also put it in a PDF. The Word document, each and every lesson is separated out. So when you create the booklet, you're going to want to put it together. But the PDF actually, it comes aligned and whatnot. So with that being said, I'm super excited. If you are going to be that new manager, I have confidence, and I want you to feel free to make any comments within the YouTube if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you. And as always, please, please, please subscribe. I would love for you to be on my YouTube list. Thank you so much, and have a great March the 1st. Till next time, from Julie HR. Oh, sorry. Here's some more questions. And at the very end, I put a growth checklist. Now, this isn't one of the 10 important things within the booklet topics. But I put a growth checklist where you can just kind of rate yourself and make notes in your notebook on how you're doing. I would, you need to monitor how you're doing. Among all the things you're doing, you need to understand how you're doing. You need to get feedback, from other managers or other people who are working with you. I wouldn't necessarily say employees, like recruiting and interviewing candidates. I would go to HR, go to perhaps if you're a manager in a manufacturing plant, probably going to report to a director or COO. Feedback is very key. You need to get that feedback or you're not going to know exactly how you're doing. And with that being said, I thank you so much. And once again, have a great March the 1st.